Hey guys, so today I just want to give you a quick tutorial of how to use the budget templates that I have available on my website. So I just want to do like a quick overview of how to use it, how it's structured, how to use it to your advantage, and then like what each version, any differences, and just so that you can understand it fully. So first of all, this first page that we're looking at is the example page. This is part of the package. It is something that you can use for reference, just going through when you're utilizing the templates, anything if you're forgetting how something looks or whatever. So I'm just going to go over how this is structured. So at the top I have the year, and then you have each section sectioned off by month. So the first section, let's just zoom in a bit. So these two examples are for February and March 2018. So I have each month structured into two sections of income and spending. So your income that you're looking at is also split into two sections. I just have it split for convenience purposes. You don't have to split it into two. I have just used it in the past as if I have two different jobs going on, or if I have like a full-time job and a part-time side job, and just utilizing it that way. If I'm only working one job at the time, then I just fill out one column. It's just for however you want to use it. If you only want to use one column, you only have to use one column. But in any case, I have it as an example. So as if someone's working full-time at Target and part-time at McDonald's or something. So each time that you get a paycheck, you would fill out however much it was in the appropriate column. And then at the bottom, you're going to see that it automatically is tallied, added together. So the sums that I have down here as the formulas are already adding everything in this column and everything in this column at the bottom. So those, you just input the values and it'll do the work for you. And then in the spending column, I have how much, so you can insert all of your receipts here, how much you spend on groceries, gas, whatever. And then I personally like to know what I'm spending on what, so not just how much I'm spending, but what I'm spending it on. I find it helpful for me personally. If you don't want to utilize that, you don't have to. I would suggest at least trying it, just because it can be very helpful, especially if you're just starting out trying to figure out where your money is going. That can help you in the future to budget more effectively. So here I have written down, just like if you spend $20 on groceries or you went out to dinner or something like that, you can list what each value is. And then again, the formulas are already in there. So this is already adding how much you've spent for the month. And then this net total adds how much you earned and subtracts from that number how much you've spent, and gives you a net total, which is how much you have at the end of the month after you've figured out expenses and income. So was it positive or negative? Did you spend more? Did you earn more? Ideally, you want to be earning more than you're spending, so that you don't have to dip into your savings too much, and you can actually increase your savings more. So then the second month, structured the same exact way. How much you made, how much you made, how much you made, how much you spent, and what those things were, how much you spent in total, what your net total was for the month. So then down at the bottom, I have an expense breakdown and then your yearly totals. So first off, we have your yearly expenses. That is a formula that is adding your totals from your expenses together to give you a number for the year. And then year earnings is the same exact concept, but it's your year earnings added in total for the year. And then your year net total is just these two numbers, the difference between them. So again, ideally you want your year earnings to be more than your year expenses so that this number is a positive and not a negative. And then your expense breakdown over here. So for examples that I have broken down, I have gas, and so this formula for gas for the year, quote unquote, for this example, includes every value that was for gas. So these three were for gas. Groceries, car maintenance, same thing for all of these. And I'll show you how to create a new formula on numbers. So these values can be helpful for you to track specifically where your money is going in what amounts, so that you can better budget if you are eating out like a ton and it's costing you like, I don't know, X amount of money a month. We'll just call it $200 a month you're spending on eating out. And your net total for the month and for the year is in the negative, and you want to try and make that a positive number instead. You're going to want to cut down on certain things that are costing you a lot of money. So something like eating out that isn't necessarily like a must, like a have to. You might be able to cut down your expenses if instead you just grocery shop a little bit better and eat out less. Just an example. However you so choose to use the information, but it can be very helpful to know exactly not only how much you're spending, but exactly how much you're spending on what. So, that being said, this is the example page. This is here for your reference, for your use, if you need to look back at it. So, next thing I would like to talk about is the templates themselves. So we're going to look at template A and template B. So they look a little bit different. First things first, actually, I ought to show you how to add in a formula. So for gas, in order for me to have, again, I'm using Apple numbers. If you want a tutorial on Excel or a printed version or something, I can also show you how that works. Just let me know in the comments. But on Apple, if you click up here on Insert and select New Formula, you can type in SUM and then a parentheses, and then you just simply select the values that you would like to include. And that will create a sum of those values. Easy peasy. Done. Okay, so back to the templates. So what's included in this is a full year template for version A and version B, as well as printable templates for version A and B. So version A is my original budget template. The only real difference between the two, only major difference, is version B's layout. I have found in the past few years of using this template that when it gets to be the end of the year and you're filling out December's, it can be a bit of a hassle to be going back and forth with your breakdown values in December. It just can be, it's not a big deal. I mean, I've used it this way for like 4 years or something, but it just can be a hassle. So I did create, for 2022, I did create this new layout. So we'll see how it works for this year. But the way I have it laid out is for each quarter has its own section. But otherwise it's mostly the same. So budget A, or template A, has your year expense breakdown example down here. You can add values to that. You can add categories. You can add categories to this and add on anything that you might want to be tracking. You might want to track how much you spend on laundry or cleaning supplies, travel, anything. Template B is a little bit more specific. I do have like my full personal list of categories, and then I also have each month a breakdown of like my top major ones that I'm tracking. So for example, for me, I'm using groceries, gas, eating out, and going out for drinks. Those are my top 4 that I want to be tracking how much I'm spending each month. So the ones that you choose for down here, you can leave what I have pre-filled or you can change it. I would just suggest that these 4 categories should be something that you are looking to pay attention to and looking to either spend less on or just be very mindful of how much you're spending in that category. So for me, I know that in the last year I've spent more eating out than I ever have. So I'm moving that into one of my qualifiers or categories for the month. Because I want to pay attention to that. So, in any case, I have got same exact setup for each month. Income with your sources and then spending how much and for what reason. What's nice about the computer versions is they are all pre-filled to the extent that I can with the formulas, so you don't have to do a whole lot that way. The only things that you will have to fill in formulas for are these and any over here that are not part of your 4. You will also have to pre-fill those. So for example, let's say we put in 35 on gas and we'll do another 27 on groceries, and we'll say over here we're going to add another 30 on gas, and we'll do 35 on groceries. Okay, so for examples, let me do it like this. 27 on gas. Okay, so for example now, for each month, you will have to input the formulas to separate out all of your values. Because, of course, I can't know where you're going to put gas and groceries and whatever, what it's all going to be and which rows it's going to be. So you're going to go up here to new formula. You can also select sum. The only reason why I don't is it pre-fills it, and whatever, it's preference. But if you do want to just click on that, you just backspace and then fill it. So we're doing gas for this month, and then you do a parentheses and hit enter or the green check mark, and that's going to pre-fill it now. So now your formula includes your gas for the month, and it's listed down here. We can also do that here again. Type sum, parentheses, select it, parentheses, enter. So now you have 2 months with your amount for gas. So look, okay, January I spent 62, February I only spent 30, okay. So now for the year, it is pre-filled with each individual month's values. So these 4 boxes are pre-formulated to complete these 4 boxes. So if you do edit this to be something else, so like say maybe you don't go out for drinks, you have maybe you pay for daycare or something for your kids, and you want to change that to childcare, just be sure that then you change the corresponding one over here to the new label that you give it. But in any case, the only formulas that you have to make are for each month. But these ones that are completely blank and not like pre-filled with the $0, you also have to make formulas for. So for me, these are going to be the things that I spend money on, but it's either that it's a once a month payment, like rent or electric or heat, where you don't necessarily have to track how much per month you're spending on that in the bottom, because you already know it's one payment a month. You know how much you're spending. So either for that reason, you're just tracking it for the year, or for me, like laundry or fitness, I don't spend enough money on it for it to be something that I'm personally concerned about. So I'm only going to track how much I spent total in the year for these values. However, if you want to change it up, you can edit it. You know, if you don't want to track gas, you want to track how much you spend on laundry instead, swap it out, change it up, edit it however you so please. But for these empty ones that don't have $0 pre-filled into them, you will have to create formulas for in the same way that we just did. So you sum, parentheses, select any values that you want to include, and then parentheses, enter, and it will calculate that for you. So that's basically how to use it. I'm just going to get rid of these real quick. Okay, so the other thing that is a little bit different about this one is I have quarterly net totals worked out and formulated into here, just because I thought with the layout it might be an interesting thing to look at how much you spend and what time of year you spend it, or how much you have in whatever the excess is, if it's negative or positive net income or net whatever, net totals, to know like maybe last 3 months of the year you spend like a ton of money and you're negative, and maybe in the summer you go on vacation and you spent a lot there or something. Just knowing what part of the year is compared to the other parts of the year. Just something that I added for this year, starting 2022, might be an interesting thing to look at. Again, these you don't have to do anything with. If you're using any If you're using the versions on the computer, these are all pre-filled for you. You don't have to touch them. You'll just have those numbers if you want them or don't. So yeah, that's how this works. Again, it's basically the same exact thing, just a different layout. Might be a bit easier to use. I don't know, we'll see. And then the printable versions are just single months. Well, this one's 2 months, but just kind of what I think would fit on a page good. You may find that you need, in any of these, you may find that you need more rows. I found in using these over the years, the more I spend, the more expenses that I have when I have rent, as opposed to not in prior years, things like that, adding on different expenses that were not previously had, you end up needing a lot more rows than this just in your spending. So be aware of that. Something about the printable versions, you can edit them before you print them. So if you know that you have really big handwriting and you want to just make the spaces bigger, you can do that however you feel you may need it. You can also print out, like, if you just want this part, you can copy and paste this onto a sheet, just for, like, so that you can do your yearly tally. I mean, for the printable version, if you're doing it that way, you probably just want to have your month by month, and then at the end of the year do these tallies, or maybe do quarterly tallies for this, and then at the end of the year have your totals. If you're doing it in this version, you can kind of do like a thus far year expense breakdown, where you can kind of tally up how much you have for each month of everything, and then adding it as you go, and then adding these values to the next page that you print out in the next months, so that at the end of the year you have your total expenses. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about using it, or using it in a different way, like print it out or on Excel, or if you use Google or something, I don't know, I can do another tutorial, and I can show you, like, doing it like on paper, adding up things and different things like that. Or if you have any other questions, if you guys would like to see a template that is more organized by expenses for each month, like if you want me to have it portioned out into gas is these ones and groceries are these ones, so that you literally don't have to put in a single formula, I can also do that. I can make that happen. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any requests. Also, if you want to see any other types of budgeting videos, any other tips or tricks that I personally use, I can do that as well. I do have a few ideas for something like that. And then these are available on my website. They're like a couple bucks. This is going to be what we just looked at, the full, both templates, printer and on computer versions, and then your examples. And if you want just the newer version that I just made, or the other one, they both will come with example, like template, like the filled out example page. And then they are available. I do have them in Apple Numbers, PDF, and Excel files. Because of the way my website is set up, they are something that I would be emailing to you after purchase. And then again, it's the digital download version. It's nothing that's going to be like in the mail. If you want to print it out, that is something that you have to print out on your own. And so again, if you guys have any other questions, anything else that you want to know, just be sure to comment and then like and subscribe for more. And thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.